Hey everybody, back again with another great colleague from USI. Summer is someone that I have been really impressed by. She's doing great work down in Florida. I love going to Florida, so hopefully we can do some of these in person. But we were having a debate just barely about how to lead benefits, whether it's with your head or your heart. Meaning, a lot of times we talk about money, saving money, but we kind of forget that there's a human element to this. So Summer, maybe let's jump in and kind of explain your thoughts around head versus your heart and how we kind of approach that.
Well, I've got to say, if I had to pick one, I'm voting for the heart. Why? I spent 20 years in human resources and I understand that people show up for work every day and they're thinking about, does my organization care about me? Does my leader care about me? Are they investing in me? How are they helping me do life in a good way? And when that message is clear, you feel more attached to your organization, less likely to leave, and that's good for the company.
Yeah, no, I totally get it. I've got kids of my own. My daughter had pneumonia last week. And so it was a little bit of a stressful situation. And in those moments, as an employee, you don't care about anything else but, your loved one that needs care and trying to navigate the system and knowing like, hey, how do I find the right doctor? Like, what if it gets worse? It's stressful. And I think that's really the human element that if your employer has set up in the right way and really sets you on a better path to understand what to do before that moment happens, I mean, the stress is going to be a lot less. And I think you'll be a lot more confident in your employer and wanting to actually be happy with your job. And I think it's forgotten a lot. And it's because we talk about it once a year. It's just not enough. We've got to talk about it more. We have to explain more.
So, Jake, you know what I know you're good at, and I appreciate what you're good at, and lots of brokers might be good at it, is saving companies money, being very strategic about the spend and maybe carving out pharmacy or finding a captive option. All of those are really cool and necessary and amazing approaches to bringing money back to the organization. But on the flip side, if that is the only goal, it's not good. Why? Because I believe that when an employee enters an organization, they are attracted by the benefits, right? If it's well illustrated and they understand the investment that has been made in them for their healthcare, that's important. Number two, when they are an employee at the organization, who answers their call when they have a silly claims question, or who really cares about helping them use the resources wisely that they have in their benefits package? If there's no human touch there, then lots of it goes underutilized. It just kind of doesn't feel like an investment that the company's making in me as an employee. It just feels like a piece of paper with some insurance jargon on it. So then as people even, just show up at open enrollment, is it a talking head walking through out of pocket max and deductibles? That all sounds like just more jargon that people don't really care about or understand really. They don't understand how it plays out or what it means for them. So having a human who cares enough to boil it down, synthesize it for them, and make sure that they understand how to make it usable and that they walk away from open enrollment saying, Jake, I love being a part of this company. This company has invested so much in me. They care about my health and well-being. This is a place I want to be a part of. And then their journey continues. But even when people leave organizations, I think lots of organizations forget that they're taking an opinion with them, right? So I've left an organization because I have a career opportunity elsewhere. But what I say about that organization is the brand ripple effect. So when I say I've worked at Deloitte, which I did, I can tell you that it was an amazing employer who had great benefits. They invested in my development. I loved working there. That's great because Deloitte did a great job making sure we felt cared about. So I just say that because that's when I think about the heart decisions about employee benefits, it's being an employer who understands that the way you communicate benefits, the way that you have touch points with employees at various parts of the cycle, that really does wonders for your employer value proposition and overall brand in the market.
Absolutely. It's perception. And the way that we communicate is, I think, often lacking when it comes to how the benefits work and how it's a part of your compensation. And I had a similar experience where I worked for Goldman Sachs. The benefits were amazing. I mean, that was we had a third child, and I don't remember having a bill, maybe a copay. Like it was really, really a great experience. And I remember that being very different than when I had a different small employer that didn't have such great insurance. However, the other part of the business at Goldman was just I didn't enjoy very much. So like I do remember the benefits were amazing. So benefits can make or break the brand of actually working for your company, whether you're trying to hire, recruit, retain, like all those things are going to revolve around the benefits piece because it's very valuable to people in their lives. Like there's just, it's something that we've come to learn to expect. And when it doesn't meet those expectations because of our perception, even if it did and we just thought it didn't, it's a negative thing. We want to change that.
Absolutely. And now, what I will say is to challenge myself back to our own original argument that we were having before this is that the financials do matter. What goes on behind the curtain of having a broker partner who understands how to save the company money and do so in a strategic way that strengthens that benefits package. That is essential because as an HR practitioner, it is easy for us, and I used to be in that seat, right? For HR practitioners to say it's overwhelming to understand all the financials behind it or the cost savings levers I could push. I'm going to kind of put my head in the sand and I trust my broker, they'll take care of it. They might not be equipped to strategically handle the financials of a 3-year plan to mitigate spend. So I do think, although I'm a heart girl, I believe that the right broker will have both. So all of this, the cost savings levers that make a difference, and the CFOs will love us as HR practitioners, right? When we can show that we have value in both spaces.
And it trickles down. I think that's the unique part about this is sometimes there's blind trust because of a relationship. And there's different types of leaders and organizations, but a lot of blind trust given to a broker that, maybe had some sort of relationship there that is not necessarily doing the things to save on cost or to save, people time understanding things, but they have that trust from that one person. And then the people paying the price are all the employees below that are either paying more or having a higher out of pocket cost. I mean, at the end of the day, we want to do things to improve their access to care earlier instead of delay it because they can't afford it because they're paying too much of premium and now they have to pay everything out of pocket. And so they just wait. And then you have a catastrophic problem down the road that could be life threatening. And we don't want to have that. We actually want to have a human element where what we're doing is funding the healthcare your employees need, not trying to just shop price because that's a terrible strategy.
Tactical, surface, not meaningful. Yeah, forget about that. That's off the table. Our head in the heart conversation, though. So I urge any business who is looking at refining or strengthening their decisions in employee benefits, when you are doing an RFP or interviewing a potential future broker, why don't you ask them, how are you going to handle the head and the heart for my organization? And make sure that those answers are balanced and in alignment. Because if they're only answering one of the two, it's probably not going to get you where you really want to go.
Yeah, it really isn't. And it's frustrating because I think the system is set up in a way to get employers right off the bat thinking about the cheapest premium. And that's just the way that it is. And a lot of times it's because the insurance companies and the brokers are making more money and doing less work when you just kind of follow that pattern. It does take more effort and it takes more strategy, but it's a huge expense. Number two in your company. And if you don't treat it like that versus this is my buddy that I golf with, you're hurting your employees. At the end of the day, I want to see people get access to care a little to no cost that's going to be preventative. And I think we've kind of shifted back a little bit as we've seen deductibles go higher. And that's where being a good leader and taking the emotion out of that decision and really looking at the facts of both head and heart is what's going to lead people on a better path. And overall, a better strategy to grow the business. And if you're growing an organization by people, you've got to think of it this way.
I agree. I'm really glad that Jake and I met. I mean, we met at USI Academy where we learned all about the tools and resources, right? That can tackle the financials and do all this stuff and tackle the hard stuff. So it is magical when you have teams around you that can help support you and deliver the outcomes that are comprehensive and meaningful to employers. So I think, I look forward to meeting new people and helping new organizations do things differently because we are such a diverse organization. I mean, the fact that I have 20 years of HR experience, I'm not a salesperson, right? Like a lot of brokers. The fact that we all show up with a different background and experience that ultimately makes such a difference for our clients makes me really proud.
Yeah. No, and I think it's great to see that collaborating together because That's not common in the industry. There, if you have something going well in the industry, usually you keep it a secret. You don't tell anybody else. We're different. I think that's why I love working at USI is that we're able to collaborate and talk about things and share ideas, share what's working, share what maybe we could fix, and we're okay sharing it. There's abundance. It's a different mindset, and I think that's definitely the case here. So I look forward to talking more with you because there's a lot of things we have in common with Disrupt and other ways that we're trying to communicate and teach people about how to use their benefits better, which leads to better results all across the board. So we'll dive into more topics and keep this conversation going.
Thank you for your passion and energy, Jake. I love meeting with you every time.
Thanks, Summer. More to come, people. Say, hey,
Thanks.
if you have a topic, question, comment, drop it in there.
Okay.
We want to know. We're going to continue to make these, and hopefully, I can get out to Florida. We can make some stuff in person. You can come out to Utah. We'll go
Absolutely.
snowboarding. We'll figure it out. But I think the long game here is we really just want to help more people have a better experience and buy healthcare at a more affordable price by doing it the correct way. And so I'm excited about it.
Bye, guys. Thanks.